Greetings. Have you ever want something and you tried everything to get that thing, yet it seems like nothing was working in your favor? I can guarantee you that most of us can testify that we would have had such an experience. Not one time, not two times, but many times in our lives. And if you're very observant, you would realize it was when you let it go and you stop wanting it that it happened to manifest in your life. But because of lack of knowledge or lack of awareness, you let it slip by. Well, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you how this was the same thing was happening to Neville when he went to Abdullah, who was his mentor, and he said to Abdullah, I want to go to Barbados because I have this burning desire to go to Barbados. Abdullah shift Neville focus from the wanting into the accepting. You see, there's a lot of acceptance. And that law of acceptance is when we no longer want the thing, but we know that we already have that thing. Therefore, we do not worry. We do not fret. Therefore, we do not become anxious. And we do not think about how, or we do not think about when it will be done. That's why Abdullah had to slam the door in Neville's face when he started to encourage doubt and fear and guilt upon himself, and when he tried to get back into that wanting feeling. And so, my brother, my sisters, you can remember when you had such an experience yourself. But I'm saying to you that if every time you have a desire and you live your life with that desire and hold on to that desire for a certain length of time, and then when you do not see anything happening, you decide to all forget about it and not to be wanting it anymore, I guarantee you, even if it's 6 months later, even if it's a year later, it will happen in your life. And I'm speaking from experience. I can remember quite vividly, okay, when I was working in the post office as a postman, and I had this burning desire to follow my passion because I've always loved fitness, I've always loved bodybuilding, okay, and I've always lived my life in health and wellness, going to the gym and taking care of myself and so on. And so I wanted was to work with the Ministry of Sports because I would have acquired a fitness certificate from a school named ISSA, International Sports Science Association, which it was in Santa Barbara, California. I think it still exists. You can check it out for yourself, okay? And I got my certificate and I was checking all around to get into the Ministry of Sports. And I end up having conversation with the director of the Ministry of Sports. I end up having conversation with the head person at the Service Commission, because the Service Commission is the main area where all people who is employed by the government, okay, that's the office, the Service Commission. And I had a conversation with them and I was trying to make it happen because I was in that wanting feeling. I was in that place of wanting. And I was trying everything within me to make it happen. And it just didn't happen. And it was about maybe a year and a half after it did happen. And it happened rather effortlessly. And it happened when I actually decided I was going to leave the post office, okay, and I didn't know where I was going, but I make sure they pay me off for the years I was working there for, and I spent an entire year and wasn't working because I had enough money to take care of myself, because I would have worked there for like say 17 years. Okay. And so when the desire come upon me and I realized I definitely have to pull off another job, get another job, because I'm getting low on money, you know, the idea came to me to go back to the Ministry of Sports. And everything just worked out right. I went and I had a conversation with the director, and he was telling me, yo, you come the right time. Somebody's on vacation and we need people to do this, we need people to do that, we need someone to fit in that person, you know, space and everything. And to cut a long story short, I worked with them up to 2 years. Okay. And then this where I also, while I was working with them, I applied for another job at a resort named Bukomembe Resort. Okay. And those of you who followed me and who've been checking out my books, you see I have a book called Bukomembe Resort and the Messenger, because I end up and work at the Bukomembe Resort as the trainer at the biggest resort on the island. But because of the way how the people were treated and so on, I end up and I walk off of that job and so on. And then as I become more aware and become more enlightened and so on, I wrote a book on that. Okay. But the point I really want to get across to you is that when you're willing to stop the wanting and get into the accepting, believe you already have it. That's why even the Bible, which is a book of mind science, it tells you whatsoever you desire, you must believe that you already have it. You must believe that you already possess it. And that is how important it is for you to understand that it's a book of mind science, and understand that everything is based on energy, vibration, and frequency, and understand that thoughts create reality. So, my brother, my sisters, if you're listening to me and there's something that you want so bad, and you become so desperate and anxious, I'm saying to you, you have to learn to let go and stop the wanting and get into the accepting. You see, only when you accept that it is already done and you let it go and totally forget about it, that's when it will manifest in your life. That is when it will come to you. You see, we've been put here to learn to alchemize, to use the alchemical invisible substance to create our life whichever we want it to be. Therefore, we have no need to live a life of wanting. Instead, we must live a life of accepting, because everything is already here. We just have to vibrate on the right frequency to attract it in our life. So, with that being said, my brother and my sister, I want to thank you very much for listening to me, and I hope what I've said is very much helpful to you. And if it didn't, and it's resonate deeply with you, and you haven't subscribed already, I definitely want to encourage you to subscribe, to like, to comment, to share this video. Also, if you like to follow me on Instagram, I like to follow me on TikTok, you can definitely follow me at Black Mad Guru. And I would also encourage you to get my latest book, which is called The Secret Vagina, Mystery of the Virgin Birth. Along with that, I would also encourage you to get Spiritual Recipe for Better Living. You see, when you get the Secret Vagina, Mystery of the Virgin Birth, and you really read it and understand it, you will realize that you can bring forth anything that you desire in this world if you understand inner impregnation, psychological impregnation, spiritual impregnation. If you understand that and you understand how thoughts become things, then you can definitely bring forth your brainchild. You can definitely work upon your ideas and make them become your reality, and you definitely understand more perfectly the Immaculate Conception and what it's really all about. Also, if you like to be a part of my Patreon community, you are most welcome, and I have a course there for people who are donating $20 or more. It's called The Inner Sun Science and Technology to Create Your Reality Consciously. And along with that is a bonus course on self-concept. So, if you feel strongly led to be a part of my Patreon community, you're most, as I said before, you're most welcome. And not to mention, I have more other videos that are available to really help you to grow and to expand. But for now, my encouragement to you is to check out all of the links that are down below and let your intuition definitely lead you and guide you into what to do. So with that being said, my brothers and my sisters, I just want to say peace Love you all. Out.